I've always been a fan of the Empire Heavy Cavalry Rush, definitely one of my favorite ways of playing one of my favorite factions, and today we're going to be trying it out against Coop's Slaanesh, so right before the Knight's Impact, let's go ahead and take a look at the builds here. Volkmar leading the way, and it's going to be 4 Empire Knights with 2 Reiksguard, for a total of 6 Heavy Cavalry plus Warrior Priest for additional prayer support. We've got Lore of Fire, 5 Spears for infantry, and single mortar war wagon, just for a nice meme pick. Yes, would have been better to have a regular war wagon for sure, especially against this guy right here, Sigvald, who's definitely going to come try and ruin my day. It's got 1 unit of Chosen of Slaanesh as well for some heavy armor, lots of devoted marauders besides them, Hell Scourges and regular marauders. We've also got some Hellstriders and a Chaos Sorcerer of Slaanesh. Of course, the Soul Feeder will heal him as he casts spells and does want to be spamming both of these to proc that sweet lore attribute for plus 12 map-wide melee attack. So, going to be getting things underway right away with a nice face charge directly into Slaanesh. Oh yeah, there's a unit of Slaanesh Forsaken over there as well that I failed to mention. Yeah, unfortunately, the mortar's lack of armor-piercing damage and the fact that it also deals physical damage means it's going to be pretty limp, as will this charge into the Chosen of Slaanesh. But elsewhere, obviously, the Marauders getting hammered fairly well by the Empire Cavalry, now pulling back away, trying to screen through the spears. The problem is, out on this far flank, we do have a situation where the Empire Knights, Reiksguard rather, get caught up by these Slaanesh Cavalry, and then the Forsaken can come in and reinforce. This is a significant amount of value, more than the Reiksguard can handle, so again, we're going to try and get them away as much as possible, but they have taken substantial damage, almost 50% HP damage in that. Meantime there, Warrior Priest getting in a little bit late with the prayer buffs, but finally does have his going on. Volkmar also in the center, so just a nice big engagement. The Furies here as well, coming in out the corner. A couple of armor-piercing Furies are going to be great at cleaning up these Empire Knights. A couple of my Empire Knights actually do get routed in the center pocket here and are basically both immediately going to get chased off by the Furies. One time I don't bring Pistoliers, I'm punching myself because, yeah, Pistoliers are great for thinning out Furies. Like, in this situation, if I had a couple, I could run them out. You know, assuming that the Hellstriders are tied up or routed off, which one is tied up, one is routed off. And speaking of which, it's tied up around my caster, doing some damage, so we're going to collapse here with the Reiksguard, try and route them back. So the Reiksguard's a little bit inefficient of me with this cav engagement, kind of blobbing in, over-blobbing a little bit. I definitely should be hammering into these Furies instead with one of the units, one of the 2 units. I mean, not that many unit models are going to be able to get in contact here, but eventually the Empire Knights do come through. They're going to try and finish off those Furies and get the mortar wagons back online. I'm going to have to do some kiting, some hit and run here if I want to try and win this battle. But we are winning in some specific localized pockets. Overall, Slaanesh's rush I'm definitely feeling the pain of. But of course, Volkmar can kill loads and loads of infantry. The issue that I'm already starting to realize is that I don't have great tools for killing Sigvald. Definitely, you know, didn't really think about him when constructing this build, and it shows. I mean, Lore of Fire is nice, and I have some fire synergy here with Volkmar and with the Warrior Priest, also giving area of effect fire damage to everything nearby. Yeah, it's decent, but definitely having Lore of Death, just to Spirit Leech Sigvald down over time would have been better. And obviously, the Mortar Wagon is a meme. Regular War Wagon with just the Rifleman in the back would have been able to shoot Sigvald and deal some damage to him as well. Right now, the Mortar is raining some damage in, though. And Volkmar's sort of bound AoE damage has also done a pretty good job so far. I don't think I've highlighted it. You might have seen it in the background. 1 banishment already went off, murderizing, I think, yeah, right on those Chosen. And we are going to do so again, try and get it on the Chosen as much as possible. A little bit on the Blob as well. We'll hit some of those other Marauders, but only Chosen are the primary targets, obviously. He's going to catch up a few of my Empire Knights who failed to escape there, but overall, the Cav has been doing a reasonably decent job in staying cycle charging. There's not too many heavy mass units. Since I was able to eliminate Coop's mobility, they've more or less had their way, but at the same time, like, they're still taking damage in the process. I mean, Devoted Marauders armor-piercing damage, the anti-infantry ones, is decent. 7 armor-piercing is okay. And the fact that they also have physical resistance kind of helps them sustain those charges a little bit better than other Marauder-type units would, right? So definitely some considerations, but we are starting to route them away. Maybe, just maybe, if I can finish everyone else off and then cycle charge Sigvald to death in the late game. There's a small chance I'll be able to deal with him, but let's see. Just trying to get rid of these devoted marauders as a priority. You can see the Furies are also coming back, having chased off units all across the field, or the one at least chase those Empire Knights far afield. And here, Koops uses that fascination to proc an Enrage Rampage on those war wagons so they can't continue fighting. Actually deals damage to them, blows up one of the unit models there as they try to flee. Interesting stuff. The Empire Knights are continuing to cycle charge Reiksguard as well, especially with the prayer buffs. I mean, 20% damage resistance is fairly substantial, especially against the lowish damage output units that Slaanesh has. It's definitely going to take time for both of us to deal damage to each other, right? But the Chosen are holding out quite admirably. Of course, all the Hellscourge units, if they're braced, will get charge defense, assuming that I'm charging them from the front. And again, if they're braced, but it's a little bit conditional sometimes. You can definitely try and work around it, but at the same time, often, you know, in the heat of battle, sometimes you can't. Sometimes you're forced to charge into a situation where they may be getting that bracing bonus, but at this point, I'm kind of starting to fall behind on value pretty significantly. The mortar wagons getting routed off. We still have a handful of cavalry operating in various positions, but overall things are looking fairly grim. Volkmar the Grim even cannot win this battle all on his own, so we're going to fast forward as Sigvald chases him around a little bit. I'm going to do my best to try and get the mortar wagon back online, finish off those Furies, kind of make a little pocket here with these last few cav, but another Fascination Army ability from Koops pulls one of my remaining Reiksguard into melee combat. They actually do finish off some devoted marauders there, but at the same time, getting rear charged by these Forsaken with their devastating flanker is probably going to be enough to finish off these Empire Knights. Some more mortar shots landing in here as well, and this Warrior Priest trying his best to hold the faith. It's not looking great for the Empire right now. Volkmar also, because he's exhausted, is going to have a hard time getting away from Sigvald, even, you know, given the speed differential between them. Only 50 speed on Volkmar is debuffed because of his exhaustion. I forget the exact percentage basis, but then Sigvald, of course, 40 speed on foot with perfect vigor. And, yeah, almost fast enough. Maybe literally fast enough to catch up with Volkmar, especially as Volkmar tries to turn there. And Volkmar is also not quite at his healing cap yet. I guess he could sustain this battle by himself for quite some time. But realistically, his chances of defeating Sigvald are extremely low, especially once, you know, we get this multiple character action going with the Slaanesh Sorcerer plus Sigvald together against Volkmar. Another fascination there, prevent him from using his abilities, but the armor sundering from the Silver Slash and, of course, weapon strength buff on Sigvald himself is more than enough to get through it. And there it is. So Koops takes me on that one. Definitely kind of shot myself in the foot there with the mortar. Go figure. But at the same time, I do feel that this mass cav rush definitely has merit in this matchup, as it does in a few others. Oftentimes, if people are expecting a missile defense build and they kind of build towards that, you can very much catch them by surprise with something like this. I mean, if Slaanesh knew this was coming and they went with their own, like, wide cavalry build, you might have some serious problems operating this successfully against them. But then that wide cavalry build might not be able to take, like, a full Empire, you know, 20 stack in attrition. So it's an interesting matchup for sure. But just purely, you know, hindsight 2020 on this game, changing out for Lore of Death, like I said, and then just taking a regular wagon in this place. Maybe swap one Empire Knight out for a couple of Pistoliers if I can figure out the funds situation, just, you know, to help guard against Furies, both of which did a decent job. I guess technically didn't pay for themselves, but tactically chasing off those Empire Knights was reasonably important. The rest of the infantry, I mean, a lot of it just kind of trades. Some Slaanesh Marauders pay for themselves, some don't. I still think they're a little bit too strong for their cost. Best low-tier infantry in the game, unquestionably, so I don't know. It kind of seems like that title should probably go to the Khorne Marauders, if anything, but we'll hold off on that discussion for now. Elstrider's also performing quite well, of course, even as they also get crumped. But then Sigvald with the hard carry there, almost, yeah, just over 2,700 value on him. 1,864 on this Slaanesh Sorcerer. For Volkmar, just about 2,000 on him, pretty close. The Reichsguard also do a reasonably decent job. Like I said, the cavalry I don't feel is what really let me down here too much. Like, yeah, maybe my own micro let the cavalry down in a couple of situations, but just the build was not properly set up to deal with. Fate Immune on those chosen, or maybe just spam Spirit Leech until the end of time on Sigvald would definitely have helped my case here. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.